everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my finale video of my Pan Those Eyeshadows project pan for 2022. Obviously this is a few days late. I was hoping to get this up in December, but with the holidays and the end of the year was crazy busy for me and my family, and we were traveling and all of that, and so it just like made it really hard. And as it was, I posted more videos in December than I normally do, so I didn't quite squeeze this one in time. But I hope that's okay with you, that we are here, you know, better late than never, I guess. And I certainly want to get this in at the beginning of January because I'm kicking off some new projects very soon. And so want to be able to talk about those towards the beginning of this month as well. So hopefully we can just figure out my filming schedule and get all of these done and up for you. But I did want to chat through kind of where we ended up for my Pan Those Eyeshadows in 2022. Across the board, I thought that we had some really great success with this project. I hit 7 pans across the 12 months that I was working on this project, and really that was great for me. And while I've hit no new pans in December, I do want to go through those eyeshadows with you quickly first, and then we can jump into the numbers and I can share with you all the pans that we hit as kind of like our closeout for this finale. So without further ado, let's talk about the eyeshadows that I was still working on in December. 2 of these eyeshadows I'm really just gonna fly through, and that is because I used them both just once, and that was in the December update video. And that might sound crazy, but to be honest, I feel like I didn't use a ton of these eyeshadows that much in general this month because I was pulling for other shades, more holiday stuff, and I didn't devote as much time or focus to my Pan Those eyeshadows that I normally do, which is totally fine. You know, we're at the end of the year. I think I probably could have hit pan on a couple if I would have spent just a little bit more time. So I'm disappointed in 2 shadows not reaching pan, but I knew I wasn't gonna hit pan in either of these, and I really just didn't spend any time there. So the first one's gonna be no surprise. It is Positivity from my Morphe Volume 2 palette with Jaclyn Hill. And across like the whole project, I've used this one a ton, but as you can see, no real progress here because I used it just once. And at the end of the day, what ended up happening with this one was it was just a little too bright for me for this time of the year, and really just in general, like I just didn't love wearing this one all the time. And I've tried to make it work a bunch of different ways, and it did work in those ways, but it just wasn't a shade that I was really drawn to use. And then the other shade I only used once comes from my ABH Jackie Aina palette, and this is Big Wig. And this one I was really excited about adding to my project, but then after a lot of use, like I didn't pull for it that often, and that was just because I had to dip into it a lot. Like the pigmentation wasn't what I would have expected, and so it just didn't make it as fun to use. So those 2 were kind of disappointing updates, but it is what it is. I did make a bunch of progress on the shades that I have in my So Jaded palette by ColourPop. So I had 3 shades in here. Sorry, I'm just looking at my numbers in this notebook. So I used So Jaded Garnet 12 times, and as you'll probably be able to see in the close-up, like I feel like we were very close to hitting pan. I wore this a lot in my outer crease. And then I wore So Jaded You're a Gem 15 times. This one I wore a ton just because it is like a great crease shade. And so really, I think I wore this probably every time I wore eyeshadow. So that'll tell you something, that in the past month, I only wore eyeshadow 15 times. So even as it was, like I didn't do my makeup a ton this month. And that's because we were off and I wasn't always going into the office or getting ready, and I just didn't see the need to always put on a full face of makeup. Also, we had So Jaded Sunstone, this shade right here. And I wore this one 8 times this month. Absolutely love this shimmer, so easy to use. These 2 were great, so the crease shade and then Sunstone all over the lid, and then putting on a red lip. That was like a go-to look for me this month. So coming from this palette, I didn't have a chance, I don't think, of hitting pan on Sunstone or Your Gem, but I was getting very close with Garnet, and I was disappointed to not hit pan. And like I said, if I would have just worked on it a little bit more, I think I probably could have. And that's similar to my Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette in the shade Obsessed, As you can see here, there's a pretty good sized dip, and this one's just so like powdery that I feel like if I would have just spent a little bit more time, I probably would have very quickly been able to hit pan on that one. And so again, a little disappointed that I kind of almost forgot about this one because I only wore it, well, I wore it 10 times. But I feel like as an inner corner shade, like I probably should have gotten at least 15 uses out of it as many times as I wore eyeshadow this month. But that's okay. So this is the update. I very much enjoyed these 6 colors because how I did this project was I would work on 5 eyeshadows at a time, but I think it was November, I rolled a 6th eyeshadow in because I hadn't hit pan on anything, just for another shadow to work on, and because we were at the end of the year, I figured it would be okay to have 6 instead of 5. So really did love this color story and pairing these together, but unfortunately just could not hit the pan in December. But that is okay because like I said, throughout this project, I did hit 7 pans. So I have my numbers up on my computer behind me, and since we are now at the finale, I figured it would be fun to kind of chat through all the numbers and then also talk through all the pans that I did hit in this project. So where my numbers currently stand is I have 213 eyeshadows in my collection. 15 of them are single shadows and 198 of them are across 11 different palettes. I have not hit any pans this month, so my pan total is staying at 23 pans and my pan percentage is sticking around at 10.8%. So I'm very happy with those numbers. They are the same numbers that I talked through at the beginning of December, but that is perfectly fine for me because my goal for this year was to hit 10% pan in my eyeshadow collection, and I was able to do that because I am sitting at 10.8%. So very, very happy about that. Very happy to hit that goal. I would love to see that pan percentage continue to go up. I would love to actually kind of on the side pan the couple of eyeshadows that I feel like I'm pretty close to hitting pan on in 2023 outside of this project, just kind of get those pans since I worked so hard on them in this project. Like I mentioned, across this project I hit 7 pans, so super excited about all the pans of eyeshadow that I hit this year and thought it would be fun to kind of walk through all of them for you. So the first one actually comes from my Urban Decay Naked palette and is the shade called Buck right here. This one I just used as a crease shade and I was able to pretty quickly work through it and get pan, so that was awesome. And then the next shade, actually I have a couple shades from my Morphe Volume 2 palette, but the next one was also a crease shade. That one is right here called Perfectionist. I was able to hit pan on that one. And then also in this palette, I was able to hit pan on Flawed and Odd. So really excited to have a couple of pans from this project in here, and then also this year, not as a part of this project, but just to help my pan percentage, I actually also hit pan on I'm In It. I worked on this in a project last year or the year before, and so had a pretty good size dip going, but I had never went back and hit the pan. I decided to go ahead and get that pan, and that's actually what I'd like to do with some of these eyeshadows, like I mentioned, that I have pretty good progress on, is to, you know, go back and get the pans for those as well. So really happy to have the pans going in this palette, and then like I said, definitely got some good usage on Positivity this year as well. I did also hit a pan in the Volume 1 Jaclyn Hill palette from Morphe, so I hit pan in this shade right here called Crayon Apple. That's kind of like that dark reddish maroon shade, so similar to some of the other shades that I worked on this year as well. I hit a pan in a single shadow, and when I was pulling all of these out, I actually had forgotten about this one, so I'm really excited to be sharing this again because I honestly, like I said, totally forgot that I'd hit pan on it. And this one I felt like was a pretty big accomplishment because I wasn't sure how much product was going to be in here. Now, I went down through this dip, which was in the center. I feel like there was like a thinner layer of eyeshadow there than if I'd gone like where the bump is, but still very happy to have hit pan on this one, and this is the Kiko Milano 200 shade. So very excited about that progress, and just I absolutely love this eyeshadow, so super fun to have such good progress in a single, and then also a single that I love. A big one from this year comes from my Alamar Spanglish palette in the shade Muy Excited. I worked on this one for months and months and used it as my crease shade and my lower lash line shade. So use this one a ton. The pan is huge, it's a deep pan, and it also was just like a little bit, just went such a long way that it just took me forever. But I finally hit pan on this one and I was so excited in that update to share it with all of you. And I think all of you were just as excited to hear from me that I had done it. So really proud of this one. I am terrified to ever have this one roll back into a pan those eyeshadows, because if any of these other shades are anything like Muy Excited, I have to be like dedicated for a year to get that one done. And then the last pan to share from this project comes from my ABH Jackie Aina palette. And it is the shade right here called Sponsored. Absolutely loved working on this shade. Would just put my finger into it and then put it all over the lid a lot of times, and was able to create a pretty big dip in this in general and also hit pan. So super proud of that one as well. And I love this palette, so I was really happy to have now 2 pans and some more progress than I did on Big Wig in here. All right, that is it for my 2022 Pan Those Eyeshadows project pan. I had so much fun in this project. I absolutely loved it. It's so much fun to randomly select the shades and then work on them. I'm totally forced out of my comfort zone with this project, which I love, and I use shades that I would never pick out on my own, and it's really fun to just see the pan on your collection grow. Yeah, and I really appreciate this project for helping me to do that. So I hope all of you enjoyed it and got to follow along. There's a whole year-long playlist, so if you missed any of the updates, definitely go back and check it out. And like I said, I will be back soon with a 2023 kickoff video, so we will be selecting 5 new shades to work on, which is so much fun. I can't wait to start us off with that. So I will see you in that video or my next video, whichever one comes first. But thank you so much for watching. I hope all of you are doing well and had a very happy new year. And I can't wait to talk to you in my next video. Bye.